Okay, so for today's session we will start with Jenkins. Now this Jenkins tool, which is used for creating pipelines. Now what is happening when you are building any software, right? First of all, you are coding it, then you are running it. Also there are a lot more other tools needs to be integrated. For example, right now we are using Docker, we are also using Kubernetes, we are also creating an application, deploying in a Docker container, then also running it in a Kubernetes cluster. Also we are using Git and other softwares, etc, etc. Now all these softwares needs to be integrated at the same time with the code, and for this purpose, whenever you are building code, running it, and you are getting some output, all these process can be integrated by using a Jenkins, and that's the significance why we should have a pipelining process. So for every iteration you are getting some output. For example, first time you are building a code, then you are running it, and then you are getting output. Suppose new changes are there, then you can make some changes, and again you are trying for the building it, running it, and getting some output. So this process can be continued further, and along with other integration as well, you can use the Jenkins as the tool. Now let's go through official website of Jenkins. So here I have entered jenkins.io. And here is a definition for the Jenkins. It's a leading open source automation server. Open source means it will be available for everyone for downloading it, using it, running it on their environment, and it's freely available. So whenever term open source is there, means that particular software is available for Linux machines, Linux server, or any other operating system freely. And it's an automation server, means it will save your time on a manual process. You can try for various scripts, various integration of tools, and that's an automation server. And whenever server is there, we are connecting from client machine. So server client architecture is there, multiple clients can connect with the server at the same time. So if number of developers, number of administrators are there, they can concurrently connect with this type of server. That's the benefit of using Jenkins server, and it will provide you hundreds of plugins details. So as I have told you that it will also have support for the Git, Docker, Kubernetes. Lot more tools are there that can be used along with the Jenkins pipeline. Now why we are using it? We are building, deploying, and automating any project by using a Jenkins.
So building, do we compile the project?
Right.
So we will compile it, we'll package it.
Right.
Then. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So what is happening? We are having operating system. On top of it, you are having supporting libraries. And whenever any code is there, this code is consisting of supporting libraries. And when you are running this code, you are getting some .exe type of output or any other type of output, and whenever you want to cross check for the output, you are calling for this output, right? So in this way you are building some project locally, right? So same process, you are building it, and deployment, when you are adding those codes to servers, that will be deployment. And automating, as you already know what is automation here. Okay, so it will support for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Now CI/CD, you must have heard about it, that is continuous integration, continuous delivery. So while using Jenkins, you can try for continuous integration, means lot more users or developers can work at the same time on a code level, that is continuous integration. And when code has been built, you can also release the code, that is delivery of the code. Continuous delivery is supported here. It will support for the easy installation. So suppose you want to try for Jenkins type of configuration on a Windows, that's available Linux, Mac OS, etc, etc. So any Unix like operating system also supported for Jenkins. So right now, after within this session, we will try for installation of Jenkins on a Linux machine. We will try for one of EC2 instance, where we will select for Amazon Linux and we will configure Jenkins server into it. And easy configuration settings are there. You can have a web interface. Here you will get port number 8080 will be assigned. Then for the plugins, there is a separate center for it. So you can select for the plugins that you want, select it manually, install it, and then you can restart the server, and that changes will be effective for the use level. Extensions are also available. So as per the architecture, multiple extensions are available, along with, as this Jenkins will run on top of Java. So you should have Java pre-installed in your machine, then you can try for Jenkins, and over there in Jenkins you can have plugins and extensions. So it will provide you distribution along multiple machines. So if you are having multiple machines, you can integrate them as well for the use of Jenkins. Now let's try for creating our Jenkins server. So here I am signing to my AWS. Now as we want to try Jenkins installation configuration on Linux, right now I will launch EC2 instance of T2 micro. I will remotely connect it via SSH, and then we will fire some commands. The default port for Jenkins, that is 8080. So within a security group, that port should be added in an inbound rule. So first of all, what I will try, I will create a security group separately, and that we will attach to our EC2 instance. So here I am selecting EC2 console. Then I am selecting for security groups tab. Here I am clicking on create security group. I am naming this as JenkinsSG. SG stands for security group. Here I am adding allow traffic for Jenkins server. Then in inbound rule, I am clicking on add rule. Sorry, I am selecting for inbound rule, clicking on add rule. Here I will try for SSH rule first of all, that is on port 2012. Selecting for traffic anywhere. Another port I am adding, that is custom TCP. Here I am mentioning port number 8080. As our Jenkins server will be run on localhost :8080. Here I am selecting for adding a security group. So in this way I have created a security group in the name of JenkinsSG, Jenkins security group. Now let's launch an EC2 instance inside it. So selecting launch instance, I am naming this as Jenkins-server. Selecting for Amazon Linux. Instance type I am keeping it as T2 micro because that will save me for costing level. And let's create a key pair. I am naming this as Jenkins Key. Clicking on create key pair. So that key pair has been downloaded in my downloads folder. So I have selected default VPC, and within security group I will just search for the security group that we have just created, that is Jenkins security group. That will act as a firewall, and then I am clicking on launch instance. So which are the steps that I have followed right now? I have created a security group first of all. So first step, I have tried within my AWS console, create security group. I have named this as Jenkins security group, and within that, in inbound rule, I have added rule SSH which is on port 22, and custom TCP for port number 8080. Okay. Then
For this inbound rule, right? SSH 2022 and for 8080. This one is for our usage we use 8080 port. But how about for the industrial side?
that's a default port for Jenkins. Same port will be used.
Same port, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like because Tomcat uses 8080, so just wanted to know, is it because
So in that case, suppose you are already having Tomcat server, so you can modify the port. While
is there any option? Is there any option?
yes,
or
option will be there for the installation part.
Okay.
What is happening? We will go through the commands. First of all, Java, we will install Java, then we will install Jenkins, and when our installation is complete, there will be web portal will be assigned, and then you can configure it. Okay. So we can launch EC2 here, and after launching EC2, we will connect it via SSH, and we will select for T2 micro type of instance, and we will select for Amazon Linux 2023 here as the OS. So let's try it. So here I have launched an EC2 instance. Now I'm connecting to it, clicking on connect, copying this command. Here I'm entering to my downloads folder, and now I'm pasting SSH command, entering it, saying yes. Okay, so here first of all you need to try for chmod 400 key pair. Here my key pair was jenkins.pm. We are providing reading permission here for key pair, then only you can connect to it. So here I'm adding a password, again trying for connection level, and in this way I have connected to my instance. So first command that we will try, that is regarding updation of machine. So here I'm entering sudo yum update -y. Now we are having different steps to follow. So these are the possible software along with Jenkins that we will install. So first software that we will try, that is a Git, and we will also go with the configuration regarding it. But the basic prerequisite for Jenkins, that is you can have a Java installation. Either you can try for Java 17 or Java 21. Both are supported.
Atul, I asked a question that I have 22. Is it okay? Like more than 21?
No, that will not configure. That will provide you error.
And this Java configuration requires an EC2 machine? I mean Linux machine or what? Local machine?
If you want to install Jenkins on a Windows, over there also you can cross check for Java version. You can modify it. You can install Jenkins in your local machine or in EC2 instance of Linux type or EC2 of Windows type. Anything that you can try.
I have Jenkins installed and with Java 22. So I'm just thinking, like, can I use that same or the...
No. You need to change it. After this... after showing Jenkins installation on EC2 Linux type, I will also cover the installation of Jenkins on a Windows machine. Then you will get some idea.
Okay, so when you say Windows machine, it's like inside AWS console or
inside AWS I will show. Same you can relate it with your local machine. No issues.
Okay.
So the first command that we will try for Git installation. So here I am going with sudo yum install git -y command. Okay, you can cross check for git version by git -version command. So git is present now. Here I am trying for git configuration, and for git configuration you can enter git config -- global username here. So you can enter your username, your first name, last name, double inversion complete. Oh, sorry. Okay, and then you can also configure your email ID by git config -- global user.email and your email ID. You can also cross check for details via git config -- list command, and you will get your username and email ID details. Then we will try for installation of Java here. We will select for Java 17. Then here I am entering Java -- version command, and now you can see that I have Java 17 that has been configured. Next, you can also try for maven. Now later on we will learn about the maven. For maven installation, you can try for sudo yum install maven -y. So as Jenkins can be integrated with lot more tools, Git, maven, Docker, etc., etc., you can install any software and configure it with the help of Jenkins. So this is the command that is important for installation of Jenkins, that is sudo yum install jenkins -y. Sorry, just a sec, I need to update it. So I'm going with sudo yum update -y. Okay, we need to import that package, I guess. Okay, here is a packaging importing. This command we can try. So here I'm entering sudo wget command for package import of Jenkins, and after that I'm also importing a key which will be used in the background. Then I will try for Jenkins installation here, and that will work now. So here I am entering sudo yum install jenkins -y after importing an package, and now it's working. So it's downloading Jenkins package in EC2 and also installing it, and then I am trying for Jenkins -- version command here. So it's showing version 2.452.3. Also we need to have a Docker that should be run in a background when we want to integrate Jenkins with the Docker. Later on we will cover one project too that will be along with integration of lot more tools. So here I'm trying for sudo yum install docker -y command. Then I will add this Docker user to the Jenkins group by using sudo usermod -ag docker Jenkins. So we need to add this line because later on we need to integrate with the Docker. So Docker user should have a permission in that case. Then we will start Jenkins server by using sudo systemctl start Jenkins. You can also use restart command when you want to restart a Jenkins server. So here I am trying for sudo systemctl restart Jenkins. So it will take few seconds and you will get a console. Now what I will try, I will just copy public IP of this instance and I will combine it with a port number 8080 and I will cross check for Jenkins server here. So if you have added a security group permissions, then only this server will be visible to you. So right now you can see that here is option unlock Jenkins and it will ask for the administrative password, and this password will be present in var folder. So here is a file for it. You can see that /var/library Jenkins secrets initialAdminPassword is a file name, and you can cross check contents of this file only once whenever you are installing Jenkins first time. That will be asked. So here I am copying this path and here I am entering sudo nano and then path of file. So here is a password. You can copy this password. Here I am copying it, and within my web browser at public IP of instance port number 8080 you can paste the password. Click on continue, and here is the option that is install suggested plugins. Click on it. So these are the separate plugins which are available, out of which Git is familiar to you.
So if pipeline is also a separate plugin?
No, these are the extension. Few extensions are there where we will select that pipeline extension. Like Docker pipeline is also there. So you will create a pipeline, also integrate it with the Docker. And at the first use, in menu option, direct option will be there that create pipeline. It's not an extension actually, but suppose you want to integrate it with other tools, the separate extensions are available for pipelining. Until then, I am also going through the configuration of other tools and settings. So here we can also start our Docker engine by using sudo systemctl status docker. Here I am going with Control X, then I am entering sudo systemctl status docker. Here you can see that it's in inactive state, so I need to start it. So here I am trying for sudo systemctl start docker. Now I'm also enabling it so that whenever I'm restarting a machine, this Docker engine will automatically start. I'm also enabling Jenkins. So for this I can try for sudo systemctl enable Jenkins command. So both softwares, Jenkins and Docker, I have enabled it. So whenever I am restarting a machine, I need not to start this service separately. And these are separate software. Suppose you want to try for Node.js, you can try for sudo yum install node.js -by. So in case of full stack development, and suppose you want to build your own Node.js code, you can also install it via sudo yum install node.js -y. Suppose you want to install Ruby software, you can try for sudo yum install ruby -y. So possibly try for configuration of Jenkins, configuration of Docker on same machine, and these other softwares are optional, but I have added it in a script level. I'm also going through the configuration of Python here and PHP and Go. Later on we will try for creating Python pipeline code Go pipeline code and other pipelines as well. So that's why I'm installing these softwares right now. Now here you need to create a user, and I'm naming this user as admin. I'm also setting a password. Here I'm adding password as the admin. I'm confirming the password as the admin, and full name I'm adding my name. I'm also adding my email ID and clicking on save and continue. And as here is configuration of your Jenkins server. So you asked a question few seconds ago that whether the port number can be changed. So here is a default port, that is 8080, but if you want another port you can configure it. So in case suppose I want to try for port number 8088, so I can edit it. So right now I'm just keeping it as the 8080 and clicking on save and finish. So what it's showing? It's showing Jenkins is ready, and you can click on start using Jenkins option after it. So this type of dashboard will be there. So that's installation of Jenkins on Amazon Linux, and we have installed other softwares too, but the installation of Java, then adding a repo of Jenkins, then installation of Jenkins is important steps here. So whatever steps I have tried, I'm just going through history command and pasting it in an app. So you need to create same environment in your AWS account. And now I will stop this instance. Later on we will continue with this same instance for practice purpose. Here I am selecting an instance, clicking on stop. But as I have enabled it for Docker and Jenkins too, whenever I am restarting this machine, Jenkins server will be automatically started. So I'm adding steps here, the commands. First of all, that will be update machine, update instance. You can try for sudo update -y. Then fifth step, you can also try for install and configure git by using sudo git -y. You can also cross check for git version. You can try for your configuration details. Then this step is important, that is step number 6. Here I'm adding install Java. That is the command that you will use. You can also cross check for Java --- version. This step is regarding installation of maven. So this is step number 7, install maven. Then we need to try for Jenkins installation. But before Jenkins installation, you need to add repo details. Then only your command will work. So you can try for sudo wget command. And then you can try for adding that repo. You can also try for adding a key for Jenkins. Sorry. Okay, so here I am adding a step. This is regarding get Jenkins repo, then add Jenkins Key, sorry, import. Here you can use word import. So this is step number 9, import Jenkins Key. And then step number 10, install Jenkins. Then you can cross check for Jenkins version, and this is regarding installation of Docker. Then adding user, then starting Jenkins server. So here step number 12, restart Jenkins server. Then this is regarding accessing a Jenkins password. So access and copy Jenkins password, and you need to paste it. So where you will paste it? Here you will access for public IP of instance :8080 in web browser. You will access it publicly. This step number 12, copy password from this particular file. So you will use sudo nano, and then you can paste it in a browser. Then step number 15, start Docker. Here I am adding start Docker services. And here you are trying for sudo systemctl status docker, sudo systemctl enable docker. So these are the optional things, that is regarding Node.js, Ruby, Python, etc., etc. PHP, Go. And last step, very last step, you can stop the instance after this configuration, because later on you will use. So these are the possible steps you will try for configuration of so this is installation and configuration of Jenkins server. Okay, I'm also pasting these steps in a chat box. Do cross check each step and let me know if you are having any doubts here. Let me paste it 2 times. Cross check chat box message, everyone. Also check for the steps. I'm repeating. First of all, you need to cross check for AWS console, create security group. Within security group, you will add port number 22, port number 8080. You will select for T2 micro type of instance because we want to save money ultimately. After launching, connecting with the instance, first command that will be updation of machine. Then you can also configure for the git. That's the optional part. If you want to try for the git, that's fine, but later on we will practice for creating a pipeline. Over there in extension git will be used. That's why I'm going through the git configuration. Then this is the important step, that for installation of Java, and Java 17 or Java 21 you can use, and then you can cross check for Java version. This command that is regarding a maven installation. This command for importing a Jenkins repository, because whenever you are installing a Jenkins, first of all we need to send a message to the machine that we need to try for installation of Jenkins, so that package should be imported. and here is a key pair that will be imported. So this will be unique key pair that you will have. Then you will try for sudo yum install Jenkins command. Let me edit it well. Okay, here you will try for it is, yes, sudo yum install Jenkins -y. Then you can cross check for Jenkins version. You will also try for Docker installation, adding Docker user to the Jenkins. Then you will start Jenkins server service. Then you can access for public IP of machine through the browser :8080. Then you will manually install Jenkins configuration through the web browser, and that's it. Any doubt?
No.
Okay. So anyone from you in desktop, on desktop, Windows desktop, or have you joined from the mobile? Okay, fine. Okay, no issues. I will launch one Windows type of machine, and then I will show you how to install Jenkins on a Windows machine. So I have stopped that instance. Now let's launch another instance. Here I am naming this as Jenkins Windows Server. I am selecting for Microsoft Windows here. In case of instance type, I will select for T2 medium because 4 GB RAM is required in case of Windows machine, as 1 GB is not enough. So here I am selecting, but that will be charged in my case. But whenever you want Windows type of configuration, Jenkins configuration, try it on your physical machine. That's fine. Here I am selecting T2 medium, selecting same key pair, Jenkins Key. I am selecting same security group, Jenkins security group, and then I am clicking on launch instance. You are requested more VP CPU, one allow bucket instance, please visit. Okay, there is a quota for instance type. I need to change instance type. Here I am clicking on edit instance. I want only one CPU core. Okay. T2 small. Okay, let's select T2 small. Okay, now it's in running state. Let's connect it. Here I'm clicking on connect, clicking on RDP client, then I'm clicking on get password, and here we will upload a key pair that is for the decryption of password for Windows machine. But you need to wait for at least 4 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes, then only you can decrypt the password. Here default username will be administrator. This is a public DNS which will be attached with EC2 instance. Okay, now here I'm clicking on upload private key. Here I'm selecting for Jenkins PM file. Then I'm clicking on decrypt password. So here is a password for machine. Here I'm downloading a remote desktop file. So this is RDP file. I'm opening it. One more thing, within this security group I need to add RDP security group rule in inbound. So that is port number 3389. Here I'm clicking on edit inbound role, clicking on add role, and here I'm searching for RDP 3389 port, selected, and clicking on save role. I'm opening this RDP file again. That will work now. So here it will show username as an administrator, paste password, clicking on continue, clicking on continue. Mummy, mummy, mummy. So here I'm clicking on start, then selecting server manager option. So within this server manager, I will just off enhance security setting from the local server, as I need to browse for few softwares and I don't need to have pop-ups. So for the pop-up setting only, I will just go through local server setting. Here I'm clicking on enhance security configuration and I'm setting it off. Then I'm closing this server manager. I'm opening Microsoft Edge. Now here I'm searching for Java 17 or Java 21 first. Here I'm clicking on start without data, confirm and continue, continue without data, confirm and start browsing. Searching for Java 17, selecting for Java downloads. Here I'm clicking on JDK 17. Now what is JDK? Java Development Kit. It's a bundle, out of which I'm selecting for 64-bit type of setup here. Selecting Windows option in Java 17 section.
If any of the version is not supportable, right, then that case it will be listed out here, right?
No, you need to select it manually. You can cross check for PC info in that case. Suppose you are having 32-bit operating system, in that case 32-bit setup you can select, and in case of 64-bit you can try for 64-bit installer. That's the case. So here I'm selecting Windows type of installer, Microsoft installer setup 64-bit. By default 64-bit architecture we are selecting when we are selecting any OS in EC2 console. Actually I have selected only 2 GB of RAM. That's why this machine can be disconnected at any time. Again I need to connect it. So that's why I have asked anybody is on Windows desktop or not. Okay, now we will double click on our downloads setup. Then clicking on next, and I will install Java 17. I'm also pasting this link in chat box and also on app for your reference. So this is installation of Jenkins on Windows. So this is the link you will try for JDK setup. Where it is, yes. And now here I will search for Jenkins website. Here I'm clicking on download option. Then here I'm selecting Windows from the LTS. Now what is LTS setup? Long-term support setup. And this is Jenkins.msi setup will be downloaded to your machine. I'm also pasting this link. Now let's open this setup. I'm just closing other tabs, they are not required. So this is the showcase of first message, that is Jenkins installation. Click on next. Here you can select for local system, selecting default port, and if you want to configure another port you can select for any port from your requirement. So here I have selected default port 8080. You can test this port as well. If that is not assigned for other software, you will get a right tick. Then you can click on next. So what it's showing, failed to find compatible Java version. Okay, so you need to cross check for Java folder here. So within C drive, program files, click on change, click on Java folder. Here is a JDK 17 folder. You need to click on it, and then you need to click on next. Then only this tab will be there. If you are having another type of Java, you will not get same configuration. Then you can select for some options and click on install. Java 11, 17 and 21, 3 are supported. Then you can click on close. So in this way you have installed Jenkins here. You can open browser and now try for localhost :8080. So here I am entering localhost :8080, entering it. So you will get the same page that we have seen in case of EC2 instance in a Windows platform too. Okay, it will ask for the password, and that password file which is present in program data, Jenkins folder, .jenkins, secrets and initial admin password. Just copy this path and paste it in one of browser tab. It will automatically open a file. And you can copy this password and paste it in administrator password tab. Click on continue. Now here you can select for install suggested plugins. But the recommended instance type you can try for T2 medium, which is having 4 GB of RAM, in case you want to install Jenkins on Windows machine. So I would recommend that you can try for Jenkins installation on Linux, because whatever other dependencies are there, that can be handled via command line. So your physical machine will be acted as an agent. So agent configuration is important. And now you can add username. Here I am adding username as admin, password as admin, confirming it, full name, I am adding my name, adding my email ID, then clicking on save and continue. I am setting a default Jenkins port here, clicking on save and finish, and start using Jenkins button. So if you want to access this same server from outside the instance setting, you can also try it. So here right now what I will try, I will copy public IP of this running instance, and I will add port number 8080 and paste it in a browser. So here I am clicking on EC2 tab from my local machine, clicking on instance running, selecting this Windows server where my Jenkins setup is there, copying public IP, pasting in browser, adding port number 8080, pasting, entering it. So if you are allowing port number 8080 in a security group, you can get a server here. Okay, right now I am not getting it, no issues. Okay, this is the setup for Windows machine Jenkins, and I'm also stopping this instance, but I will practice on a Jenkins Linux type server mostly. But in your case, suppose you want to try it on a local machine, I'm just providing the same step here. First of all, install Java via this link, and second step, install Jenkins. I'm adding this to the discussion tab. That one is installation of Jenkins on Windows. Okay,